The New York Times real estate section is one of the best places to go if you want to read something that will infuriate you, especially if you are a millennial. Recently, they wrote an article about a hot new millennial trend where people can't afford rent in big cities, so they literally build walls inside these one-bedroom, maybe in some cases two-bedroom apartments in order to fit in as many people as possible. And it breaks all sorts of health code and safety code violations. Now, let me give you a few examples that they profiled in their piece. Now, in one-bedroom apartment described in the piece, 2 women sleep in twin beds in the bedroom while 2 men split the living room, subdivided by a temporary half wall. In another, 3 roommates split a 1-bedroom with a living room subdivided into a windowed bedroom and windowless living room, an open dining area turned into another bedroom, and a fake wall added to the real bedroom so roommates can access the ensuite bathroom without disturbing anyone. Now, they're specifically focusing on, the housing market in New York, and we all know it's extremely expensive. You'll be lucky if you find something like a 1-bedroom apartment around $4,000 a month. So yeah, a lot of young people who move to New York to start their dreams simply can't afford it. No one makes money like that. But there are serious ramifications to this. Now, tenants occasionally skirt fire codes to fit into these apartments, to which landlords might turn a blind eye. One real estate lawyer says it's not exactly the code of the law, it's just how things work in New York City. Landlords don't really care too much because 1-bedrooms are sometimes $3,600, and what kind of 20-something can afford that? Okay, so I bring all this up because in a lot of major cities, big cities, you're seeing similar issues come up. The housing market is untouchable. There's no way people in our age group can buy homes right now. And then on top of that, rent keeps going up because there's high demand. A lot of people can't afford homes, so they're turning to rental properties. Think about what just happened in Oakland with that warehouse fire, right? These safety code violations are so incredibly important. But at the same time, like the way the New York Times wrote about this, I guess out of all the other millennial articles that they've written, this has been a little better. But it's like, yeah, hot new trend. Like, yeah, we're loving it. We love building fucking half walls in our units in order to make room for as many people as possible so we can split and divvy up the rent.
In our units.
Anyways.
Okay, so first of all, this trend is not completely new.
No, people have been doing it for a while, but it's definitely been exacerbated recently.
When I got out of law school, and I got out of law school, so I had no money. I was in debt, and so I lived in pretty much a walk-in closet. Mm-hmm. So it was a 2-bedroom with a very large closet, and I lived in a closet. Okay, and that's life in the big city. And in this case, literally. So if you see the $3,600 in rent for a 1-bedroom and you live in Arkansas, you're like, what in the world, right? But these cities are insanely expensive.
Yes.
And
what are people? Okay, go finish your thoughts. Sorry.
Just no. In LA, so that was in Washington. In LA, my wife did the same exact thing. They didn't build a wall, but they put up a divider between her and her friends. So they turned a 2-bedroom into a 3 or 4-bedroom. And now things are worse today because of income inequality. What I mean by that is that it's not just that everybody's suffering because of the stock market, especially in a city like New York where a lot of people work in finance. Actually, some people are doing great. And you have outside money coming in, the Chinese money, Russian money, Saudi money coming in and buying a lot of the real estate and not even living there.
Yes.
So that drives up, especially in a small place like Manhattan, that drives up everybody else's prices. And then when you're trying to work in a major city and like you're getting paid so little at other digital media companies, right, as an example, but you could pick many examples. How the hell are you supposed to live in Manhattan on that? That's so you do 6 people in a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are already well established, they own their homes and they don't have to deal with this, probably hear the type of complaining I do on the show and think, okay, so then don't go live in New York. Don't live in the city, go live in the suburbs and commute. But that's so much easier said than done. First of all, a lot of people move to big cities to start their careers. There's a lot more opportunity there, and that's the reason why they go. Secondly, when you're working insanely long hours, an hour, hour and a half commute each way is the most difficult thing to do. Honestly, I did it.
And by the way, also costs you a lot of money.
It does. It costs you a lot of gas money, a car with insurance and all that stuff. I mean, all of those costs add up. So commuting for some people is an option. And I did commuting for a very long time while I was working at TYT. It wasn't until 26 where I felt comfortable moving into an apartment. But look, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this problem is getting worse. It's getting harder and harder for people in my age group, and certainly people even younger, to make their way in life and find a place to live. We shouldn't live in a situation where it's unsafe, and if there's a fire, we might be trapped in the building because we built all these makeshift walls everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And this whole thing about China and Russia and all of this like rich money from other countries coming in and buying our properties, I don't know, is it crazy to push for a regulation that prevents that from happening? Why are we allowing that to happen?
Sometimes it gets even worse. They're sometimes encouraged by the tax code to do it, and it's really, if you live in those cities, it is super, super annoying. And the only way that it gets worse is if I tell you part of the reason why they buy in those cities, because they've got to move not all of them, some of them have to move corrupt money out of their country so that it can't be traced back. And if you put it into real estate, well, it's not sitting in a Swiss bank account, it's not sitting in a Russian or Chinese bank account, and harder to grab, and then protected by American law. So they're using our law to hide their corrupt money, and so it's even more frustrating. So when you see a news story about, oh, these young, zany millennials all living together, it's not cute.
It's not cute, no.
They do it because they have to. The whole 2-hour podcast of the Young Turks, commercial-free.
You're gonna get it.
If you become a member, tytnetwork.com/join.